What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land. So obviously you've seen the update by now. Yes, there is a Nintendo Direct happening tomorrow and it's super exciting. But let's start talking about the good stuff now. It's time for prediction time. We are going to try to predict what's to come in this Nintendo Direct. All we know right now is it's tomorrow. We know it's going to be 50 minutes long, and it says that it's going to have information on Smash Bros. Ultimate and games coming to Nintendo Switch in the first half of 2021. Now, of course, we're not going to just talk about the first half, because Nintendo loves to go on beyond that. They always say this with their Nintendo Directs. They say this is only going to be for this year, and they end up going on with the next year, with a couple of games that's coming out, because they have to set, kind of pave a way for the future. So they're going to have some future games and some stuff talking about holiday season, of course, especially that one game that we're all waiting for. You know what I'm talking about. Before we get to that, stop what you're doing, make sure you like the video and subscribe. Yes, we're still trying to get that bar to move along and get this percentage a lot higher for people that tune into my videos and are not subs. So stop what you're doing, subscribe, and stay up to date on everything that happens tomorrow during this Direct and everything Nintendo-wise. And also, if you want to stay up to date even more, join our official Nintendo Land Discord where you can chat with me and other subscribers about all things Nintendo. So of course, everybody wants to be cautious. Everybody wants to make sure that we don't overhype something that might not be that big. But it is 50 minutes of games showcasing things that we have no clue what's to come. For instance, this is the first time I think we've ever had a Nintendo Direct before there hasn't been a single thing to look forward to. There's not one thing announced for this year, so there's gotta be some big hitters here. So even though we are gonna get kind of carried away with some of this, we have to talk about exactly what we think could happen. And forget trying to be super conservative. I'm naming everything and going in full detail because it's been over 500 days, over a year and a half since we've had a Nintendo Direct. So it's time, and it's my job to get you guys hyped. So let's get into it. First off, let's start off with Mario. I don't think there's going to be much Mario things. We've had the big 35th anniversary last year. We're not going to get anything outside of a sports title. And if we get a sports title, I would say golf. It sounds realistic, but I actually think it might be something along the lines of basketball, soccer, or baseball, which would be very interesting, of course. And I don't think we're getting Odyssey 2. If it happens, it's not going to be until next year, or maybe even 2023. And if we hear about the game, the earliest we're going to hear about Mario Odyssey 2 is probably E3 or late 2021. So I don't think we're going to get anything with that here. Now, there has been rumors and speculation and talk about a brand new Captain Toad. It isn't, exactly Mario, but it is in the Mario universe. Captain Toad was rumored a while ago, and I think it is going to be a giant Captain Toad adventure with a giant brand new world. The world's going to be bigger, not just floating blocks in the sky that you turn and twist, but it's going to be giant worlds that you explore and find secrets. Captain Toad will have a bigger moveset. He'll be able to run faster, maybe even jump this time, and probably you fly around the air, maybe hover, do different things with different abilities, and even have offensive capabilities in order to attack enemies a lot more often, like his trusty dusty pickaxe instead of it just being a power up. I can see this being a huge expansion to Captain Toad and being something that could be pretty useful and pretty exciting for Nintendo in the future. Of course, we have to talk about Zelda. We are now officially in the month of the anniversary, and it's actually, I believe, this Sunday, so we got to get some Zelda information out. Now, I think they could do a Zelda Direct announcement for later on in the month, or maybe even next month. That could work, or maybe there's a segment focused on this. Maybe that's why it's 50 minutes long, because there's a whole entire section focused on Zelda. I would love either way. I mean, that's pretty exciting. I want some Zelda news and some Zelda games on the Switch. But of course, I think we're going to get a 3-pack of games. I don't know what they're going to be, but obviously they're going to be re-releases or remakes of the past games, and lots of these games already been remade, like Ocarina of Time for the 3DS and Majora's Mask for the 3DS have been remade. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess have been remade for the Wii U, and the only one we haven't gotten is Skyward Sword. If I was a betting man, I'd say Skyward Sword is probably going to be the only game that's alone. It's going to have a whole bunch of new things added to it, new gameplay changes, probably some different quality of life improvements and stuff, but it's primarily going to be the same game. Maybe with something added. They normally do that when it's a single game, and Zelda games normally get a lot of things updated to the game to make it a lot better. But if they do a 3-pack, I really don't know what they choose. I would say Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and I guess it would have to be Twilight Princess if that's how they go, but then it's just like, where's Majora's Mask? Where does that fall? This is a very sloppy thing. With Zelda, it's not as easy and clean cut as Mario, but then again, they did just leave a game out like Mario Galaxy 2, so they could just do the same thing and leave a game out. But it's really hard to say what they're going to do. There's also been those updated files or whatever that was I heard from the DS games, which is Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. So we could be seeing those games returning as well, and maybe their own 3-pack, like the Toon Link pack. So I really don't know what Nintendo's going to do with that. But of course, the meat here, Breath of the Wild 2. Are we going to get news on this? Yes, it does say the first half of 2021. So it's hard to say like if they're going to actually dive into the later year, but I think that they possibly could. And they could also maybe even show off the new console. They might wait until E3 for that. But I still think there's a small chance that we could get a glimpse or a trailer of Breath of the Wild 2. Nintendo does this all the time, so we very well could. And I'm going to say probably not yet still, but if we see Breath of the Wild 2, here's my crazy predictions. So pretty much it's going to show the world. Barely any story or stories elements or anything like that. It's just going to show the world and some things that Link's doing. Zelda will be playable, Zelda will be doing some things as well, but it's going to be mostly a gameplay trailer. And the world's going to look mostly recognizable. There's going to be recognizable areas that just seem a little bit different and some things are changed. And I think they're going to go with some sort of time paradox with kind of how they did in Age of Calamity. Maybe there'll be different portals or rifts opening up that open up past locations from Zelda, and maybe even future locations that we have never even seen before. This works alongside of Age of Calamity because we know there's a whole time continuity thing, and technically it's not canon to the story that we know and love with Breath of the Wild, so I don't know really how they do that. But since that story never really happened in the timeline, they could still have new characters come in from Age of Calamity, such as Suga and Aster, which would be pretty cool since technically they've never happened. But the story will be dark overall, and it'll be a creepy tone for Zelda, but it'll be a lot of fun. Metroid will probably still not get the Prime Trilogy announced, but the rumored 2D Metroid will be shown, and I think it's actually going to come in the springtime as well. It's going to be an amazing looking version of Metroid, and it's going to look just like the one for the 3DS, but a lot better and a lot cleaner. And if I want to go into the descriptive details here, I'd say it's going to have a lot of depth and almost feel like it's kind of a 2.5D hybrid type of thing where the camera shifts and turns in certain perspectives where you can see what's in front of you. But of course, I think Ridley's going to be back. There's going to be some type of new threat in the galaxy and maybe even the return of the X-Parasites from Fusion, because there's been rumors that this is going to be the sequel or the game following Fusion. And the level design is based more on I'd say, a terrain. You know, lots of Zelda games seem to take place underground or in some type of base, and the same thing with Samus Returns. You were mostly in caves and the underground caverns the most part, so I think this time we're going to have some outside environments to explore and stuff, and I think it's just going to be a really cool, you know, return for Samus to be on a home console and in 2D, so I think it's going to be a really good game to wait for Metroid Prime 4. No news of Metroid Prime 4. Something else that's been long rumored, and one of our last long rumored ones, is Donkey Kong. I lied, there's a couple more rumors. But Donkey Kong apparently is getting Donkey Kong Country 6 very soon, and I think that sounds realistic. I think that could come around the fall time, and even though it's technically second half of 2021, we could see it. Are we going to see it? I'd say not quite yet. I'd say this is something that sounds like it could be shown off at E3, and Nintendo seems to be, you know, kind of dealing with games that are close to release now, so I don't think this is happening yet. But if it does happen, this is exactly what's going to be. I don't know. This is the only one I can't really predict because Donkey Kong has done so many great things, and it's really hard to mess up Donkey Kong at this point. They've done such a great job. Just come up, I guess, with a brand new type of world. You know, we've kind of seen the same old Donkey Kong stuff over and over again with the jungles and the different terrains. So let's do something completely different. You know, something like Donkey Kong Country 2's Carnival World, where Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong were actually on roller coasters. So I would love to see something like that, something wacky, something out of the norm, and just a brand new world. Maybe even bring back K. Rool. You know, it's been a while since we've seen him. He is one of the main staple villains of Nintendo now. He's even in Smash Ultimate, so give King K. Rool the spotlight back and bring him back with the Kremlins, and I think we could have some really cool Donkey Kong experiences. And like I said, Tropical Freeze is one of my favorite games of all time, so I would be stoked for this. Well, I don't know much about Fire Emblem, but I know there's another rumor. Well, apparently there's some type of Fire Emblem remake coming. I have no clue what this remake is or of what game. All I know is they keep saying for Fire Emblem fans, this is the remake. I don't know what the remake is. I don't know if it's of the first game or some type of old DS game or Game Boy game. I don't know. But there's apparently a remake coming in the summer, maybe. That sounds like something from Fire Emblem. You know, you had Three Houses. I think you had Three Houses DLC. And then there's, you know, a remake. So cool. I don't know much about Fire Emblem, like I said, so Fire Emblem fans, go crazy. Take it with whatever you will. This next section I labeled as multiplayer. So I don't think Mario Kart 9 is happening, and I still don't think it's happening for a while. This could be something that happens after the new Switch drops, like in the summer after, so I'd say summer of 2022 maybe, but I don't think we're getting any Mario Kart information here. But we could see something from Splatoon 3. This could be a big summer game, and it's been a little bit of a while since we've had some new type of stuff from Splatoon, since updates stopped like 2-3 years ago, and we really only have like some type of Splatfest that are either recycled or based upon a anniversary like Mario, and probably another one coming with Zelda. But I could see them showing off a new Splatoon, maybe with a, bigger maps, bigger, teams, like Ground War in Call of Duty. You'll have 10v10s or 20v20s or just even maybe 6v6s, just more expansive, bigger teams, more players on the field. We could even see maybe even a new Battle Royale mode for Splatoon, one of my biggest wishes for Nintendo ever, and that could be something that's free to play if you have Nintendo Switch Online, since pretty much every Battle Royale ever seems to be that way. They will probably be hiding the story a bit, so that way they don't, spoil too much of the gameplay story and stuff. So that might be hidden, and we have to wait for that, but everything else will be shown. We'll see exactly, some new weapons, maybe like an ink bow, ink crossbow. Like I said, we're getting very, very detailed with these predictions, but I'm not saying it's happening. I don't think it's still the time. I don't think Mario Kart or Splatoon 3 is happening yet. I still think we're going to have to wait a little bit longer until we see these games. And then we could also have a WarioWare game, which is be a fun family game, and I'm going out and saying that this is happening. It feels like it's time. I don't know why, but I just would love to see Nintendo use the Joy-Con for once for something good, if you don't have drift, that is. But yeah, I think it could be called WarioWare Switched. It makes sense. It works with most of their titles that they've done so far, like Touched or Smooth Moves or Shake It. So we'll see if that works, but I think WarioWare needs to come back. I think it needs a comeback for sure. I would love to see some micro games. Make them all new micro games. Don't make them kind of reused like from WarioWare Gold. Make it all new things. I think the voice acting is going to return like it did in the 3DS WarioWare Gold title. This could also be Rhythm Heaven. I don't know. I think either Rhythm Heaven or WarioWare, but I think WarioWare needs to be the one to start this off first. And it's just been a while since we've had a WarioWare game, a fresh one, a new one, and especially one on the console. And no, I don't count Game & Wario on the Wii U. Kirby, what about our Star Warrior? Well, I think this is the perfect time to show off whatever HAL Labs is working on. We know HAL Labs came out about a year ago around that time and said that Nintendo was working really hard with them with some big type of Kirby game that was going to be quote-unquote the peak of the series, which is very interesting. And I think everybody is expecting this to be the big 3D Kirby game, and I cannot wait to see Kirby go 3D. We've seen it a little bit with Blowout Blast. It's probably going to have great movement like that game did, and obviously combat with the copy abilities the same way Kirby Fighters did, and I think this can be one of the biggest games of the year, and I think it is going to be Nintendo's big highlight of the spring. I think it's going to be the big first part of the year game, and I can't wait to see what Kirby does, because Kirby is always one of those games that just kind of comes out, it's a great game, people love it, and they move on. It's never really seen as the big title of the year, and I think for the first time ever, for one of the first times ever, Kirby can be something huge, and I love Kirby, so I want nothing but positive, games coming from this series, and they always are pretty good franchises. But to me, Star Allies wasn't the best that it could be, and it wasn't as an original as it could be, but this game could very well do all of that I wanted and more. As much as I would love them to continue the new villain tropes, I think King Dedede is going to be the only main villain here, but I think it's just going to be a fun game. I don't know where the story is going to take it, but I'm ready. Now we got a couple of extra things that I want to talk about real quick before we jump into the obviously last part and the main part here, but we might get some DLC. They've mentioned that there's going to be some talk on some games that are already out. I don't know what that meant. It said including Smash Brothers, which like I said we're about to get into, but I don't know what else that could mean. Maybe we get some DLC from some games that we already have or have just received and we haven't gotten anything for. Maybe some more Animal Crossing update stuff, maybe some Age of Calamity DLC. We know there's a couple of characters that were not not actually playable in the game, so we could get a side little story with them playable. We could maybe even get a Paper Mario Origami King expansion. Maybe we play with Luigi or somebody else. But the other two, I could see us getting maybe a new Wario Land game. Once again, don't think it's happening, but Wario Land has been a while since, Shake It. And then the last thing is Sega could technically show off their new Sonic game here, or whatever they have planned for Sonic. It is their anniversary as well, and they still have not shown anything. I recommend that they do their own presentation themselves, but who knows? They are always on good terms with Nintendo, and they've had Nintendo exclusive Sonic games before, so at this rate, I would not put it past them. So we'll see what happens, and maybe Sega gives us something for Sonic. And last but not least, we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We're going to get a new fighter, but who is it going to be? I don't think this fighter is going to be somebody that big. Unfortunately, I know it hurts, but it just feels like it's not. Sephiroth was pretty huge for a lot of people. That was a pretty out of nowhere pick, and once again we are in the springtime, which normally is somebody that's decently before they get into E3 and just blow us out with some crazy characters. But yes, I just kind of have that flashback. I know Fire Emblem fans are going to get mad again, but yes, Byleth was last spring technically, or really in the winter. But yeah, Byleth happened first last year, and then we had Min Min, and it wasn't really, getting exciting until, around E3 time where we had Steve announced and then eventually Sephiroth. So I think we're slowing down again, and I think we're going to get somebody that's, maybe not super requested, but somebody that can be like, okay, that's fine. And I'm guessing somebody like Ryu Hayabusa could happen, maybe even Rayman, which I think Rayman would have a pretty good reception, maybe a Monster Hunter fighter, or a new Pokemon, because it is their anniversary as well. I know, yes, it's Zelda's, but they love Pokemon, trust me. They'll do Pokemon before a Zelda character. But if I would say somebody that should be picked is Crash Bandicoot for sure still, and I'd say probably Master Chief if Microsoft wants to throw us another Microsoft character, but I would love Crash. I think it's time for Crash. Finally, his games was just announced on the Switch, and I think it's time for Crash to come. Finally, he just belongs here. He needs to be in this roster, and I think he's one of the last few characters that I can say needs to be in Smash. But we'll see what happens, and whatever happens, I think we're going to get a Sakurai presentation probably after. I hope it's not part of the Direct, because that might be the reason why it's 50 minutes long. I doubt it, and maybe Sakurai just shows off the character, and maybe it'll be a while before we even have his little Direct presentation, his Sakurai Presents thing. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But those are all of my predictions for this Nintendo Direct. I am expecting some cool things. Obviously, I'm not going to be one of those people that say, get your hype down, don't be excited, expect nothing. No, be excited. It's been a while since we've been this excited for something. Enjoy this feeling, because you never know when it's going to go away, like last time. Enjoy this. Take this in. Be excited about this Direct. Some good things are gonna happen. There are gonna be some fun games and some cool announcements and just something for everybody, surely. So let me know in the comments down below what you think is going to happen. Let me know what you want to see and what you think is actually going to happen with your expectations. And just subscribe to stay up to date on everything that happens. I'll probably post my reaction and also all kinds of analysis videos on whatever trailers that we get. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And like always, I will see you all on the next one. See you guys.